Part 70. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 691. Eternal Forest. After Yabai returned from the exclusive space, he first went to find Mr. Lan. He will definitely go to the Void Vortex. But Yabai also has another concern. I disappeared suddenly for such a long time. Isn't it hard for the school to explain it to me? Lan Lao expressed his understanding of Shura's desire to continue hiding his identity. After all, he is Shura, so it is reasonable to have this kind of mentality. Lan Lao quickly took action to resolve Yabai's concerns. He used the simplest method. Ding. Yabai's communicator received the notification. The primary school term ends tomorrow, and there are 2 months of summer vacation. The start time will be notified later. You can make your own arrangements during the vacation. Universities around the world are on holiday. Yabai. What a simple and crude method. For most college students, they also have busy schoolwork to do during the holidays. Yabai could use an excuse to follow his master and disappear for a while. After getting rid of his worries, Yabai started to shake people up. Xuemeng, no need to shake this. Yabai can just let him know when the time comes. Now that we have found the abyss, there is no need for Xuemeng to stay in the second abyss. One coolie, third Master Ying, is enough. Yabai went to the Void Vortex to save Ju Ye. Saving Master Ju is equivalent to saving his father. Xuemeng followed Yabai around, it was only natural. After taking care of the thickest thigh, under the escort of Xuemeng, Yabai went to the 8th abyss and informed the 8th demon god that this time he was included in the void whirlpool. If he doesn't go, the human race will replace him with another 8th demon. Anyway, once raw, twice cooked. Prince Huang, who had just become the 8th demon god, agreed without much thought. Yabai took the opportunity to go to the 9th abyss again, but was rejected. The 9th demon god was also very tough and said frankly, "When will Yingju come back? Come find me again." The 9th demon god is nominally an undercover agent of the human race. Actually, more like Yingju's younger brother. Yingju left, and the 9th demon god didn't bother to pretend anymore. After failing to pull the demon god's strong man, Yabai turned to the 5th demon god. "Hey, isn't this a lively and active Lao Wu? Yabai has a strange yin and yang aura. Would you like to go to the Void Vortex? You have a 0.25% chance of death." Yabai believes that no 5th demon can refuse the invitation of death. Ridiculous. The 5th demon god ignored Yabai and turned around to leave with Xiao Ziao. If Shura said that he would definitely come back alive, the 5th demon god will probably give it a try. Since Shura said that he might die, he wouldn't go. He is not stupid. Even if he can really die, the strongest human being will not let him die. The 5th demon is seeking death, and has been looking for Wuhan, hoping that Wuhan will get angry and kill himself. Seeing the 5th demon god leaving, Yabai breathed a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat from his forehead. The prompt in front of him slowly disappeared. The 5th devil's survival probability, 0%. Fortunately, this guy doesn't know. The 5th demon is very special. What's so special about it, Yabai doesn't know yet. Me too. But he is sure of one thing. Both the eldest brother and the second brother are unwilling to kill the 5th demon god. There must be their reasons. Yabai didn't receive the signal, so there was no need to fight against the 5th demon. Not to mention, living is the greatest torture for the 5th demon god. To take a step back, Second Master Ying has to work for Yabai for free for 30 years, and it's not appropriate to promote someone else's father. The soft-hearted Yabai couldn't do this kind of thing. After returning from the abyss, Yabai continued to send messages to shake people up. Originally a solo player in the Void Maelstrom, he directly formed a team-building team. In order to save his life, Shura really risked his life. The first abyss. As usual, the great devil was still lying on the ground. Two swordsmen strolled through the golden abyss. Sometimes, he realizes a few swords. Sometimes, he would give a few compliments. The swordsman in blue suddenly stopped and frowned slightly. Shura is going to the void vortex. Obviously. Lan Bangxian received Shura's invitation and subconsciously wanted to refuse. Void vortex. Wilhen felt a little itchy when he thought about his experience that year. I really want to chop it again. It's a pity that I can't go. Wilhen suggested, how about you run for me? There were still a few enemies that were not killed that year, which Wilhen regretted. Originally, Lan Bangxian wanted to refuse. Now that Wilhen had spoken, he changed his mind. Lan Bangxian, who was about to agree, frowned again. Huo Tianyi is going too. He refused without hesitation. It's torture to act with such a foul-mouthed player. And Lan Bangxian always felt that madman Huo had bad intentions. Huo Tianyi's recent behavior is very abnormal. Perhaps madman Huo had predicted Yingzhu's prediction back then, and guessed that madman Huo would break into the abyss of power with Yingzhu, so he left Huo Tianyi behind. Certainly. Crazy Huo's brain capacity must be unimaginable. But Crazy Huo has a helper named Lan Tiankai. Lan Bangxian didn't want to take a trip into this muddy water. Daddy Lan isn't coming. In the eternal forest, Ye Bai looked at the news in front of him and fell into deep thought. There is one less Lan Bangxian and one more Huo Tianyi. It's like weight training. Current survival rate 94.99%. Soon. Huo Tianyi quickly convinced Ye Bai. No. Ye Bai rolled his eyes, looked at Huo Tianyi who volunteered, and muttered. Ye Bai tried to remove himself from the big list and found that everyone's survival rate had increased a lot. The culprit turned out to be me. In terms of fist and kick moves, Black Coffin is the strongest move Ye Bai has ever seen. I won't die. Following Chuanyan's instructions, Ye Bai operated step by step without wasting a penny. There is one thing left for Ye Bai to do, awakening for the fourth time. Give me a reason to bring you with me. Unlock free orders, immunity mode. After including Huo Tianyi, the survival rate actually increased. Ye Bai still respected the senior Huo Tianwang. Opening his eyes, a coolness spread throughout his body, making him feel indescribably comfortable. Lines of prompts appeared in front of Ye Bai's eyes. Crazy Huo asked me to go. He took Xuemeng's card and spent huge sums of money to purchase materials from the Wanwu Pavilion. The pinnacle Black Coffin can kill the devil with one punch. Why are you making so much fun with a colorful pen? Unlike the burning pain of the third awakening, the feeling of the fourth awakening is cold. Looking at the prompts in front of him, Ye Bai felt a pain in his balls. The fourth awakening is completed. Still too low. Isn't it enough to have Shura and a colored pen? After shaking the person, a result appeared in front of Ye Bai's eyes. That Black Coffin punch, it really hurts. Ye Bai. Ye Bai said helplessly. Huo Tianyi's attitude was very firm and he must go. Survival rate, 65.57%. After passing through these useless information, Ye Bai went straight to the topic and found the survival rate that he cared about most. That's okay. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 692. Good news, Danyanzi has become more active, and the survival rate has been increased to 94.99% in one breath. Bad news, the survival rate is only 94.99%. Looking at the data in front of him, Ye Bai fell into silence. With his character and this survival rate, he would generally not go. But Ye Bai had already used all available means. The improvement in level is of little help to Yebai at this stage. The origin of greed is already the origin that best suits Yebai. He cannot break through to level 900, otherwise the most powerful demon will not let him go. In the past, when the Supreme Seed reached level 500, the Supreme Demon God had already begun to become restless. The reason why Yebai is special is because Master Ju opened the Supreme Abyss in advance and asked Wuhan to help seal the Supreme Abyss. Only then did he escape a disaster. You can escape the first grade of junior high school, but you can't escape the 15th grade. Yebai must control himself. In other words, a 94.99% survival rate is Yebai's limit. Just say whether you want to go or not. Yebai ignored Tan Yan and paced back and forth for a while. He felt that in such a serious situation, something needed to be done. Then, Yebai took out the small bed and quilt and fell asleep on the spot. Open up. Don't be afraid when you encounter difficulties, just face it with all your might. Once I accept my weakness, I am invincible. Yebai slept deeply, but woke up after a few hours. In any case, the danger he is about to face is the closest to death since his debut. Yebai must face it in his best condition. Yebai, who was full of energy, checked his survival data again. 94.99%. Grass. There's no use showing it off. Yebai, who failed to show off, could only shamelessly run to the Eternal Tower. A white cloud fell slowly and landed in front of Yebai. Whoosh. Very soon. Yebai arrived at the 99th floor and said hello honestly. He didn't mention much about the void vortex. After all, everything that should be asked before has already been asked. Yebai turned to ask. The fifth awakening of talent. After expressing his concerns, Yebai quietly waited for the answer. Cannot blend into one's own body. Xiaoyao's answer was very plain, and he patiently explained. Once you merge, even if the most powerful demon dies, you will be the new most powerful demon. Yebai. Playing such a big game? With Xiaoyao's words, he would not choose to fuse even if he beat Yebai to death. However, this did not prevent him from asking one more question. Why? The eternal origin cannot be completely integrated with itself. Xiaoyao saw that Yebai was confused and said a few more words. Even if it's just a fragment, after fusion, other eternal origins will have an irresistible temptation for you. The existence after complete integration only lives for one goal, to gather the complete eternal origin. Like SSS level talents, only relatively complete fragments are eligible for complete integration. Other people's talents are only used temporarily and cannot be fully integrated, so naturally they don't have this concern. After hearing Xiaoyao's explanation, Yebai understood, but not completely. Okay. These few words are extremely small, but they can reflect a certain disdainful joy. Once a shard is fully fused, there's a desire to collect them all. To be honest, even if Yebai hasn't fused yet, he still wants to collect all the fragments. No way. He is so greedy. After hearing Xiaoyao's explanation, Yebai suddenly figured out another thing. The birth of the most powerful demon god? Most of the strongest people who helped build the Eternal Tower were part of their own eternal origin. After fully integrating the eternal source fragments, these guys went crazy. Forced to fuse together, they became a monster, a collection of huge consciousnesses that constantly strangled the consciousness of other existences. The ancestor of angels took away her share of the eternal origin, and there was no fusion. Instead, use it as a ticket to the upper world and successfully sneak across. Hiss. The pattern opened up instantly. Okay, it's almost time. Yebai stood up and left a storage item on Baiyun. If I die, please pass these things to Yeju. Here, there are Yebai's savings and many arrangements. The Taoist in the pagoda responded calmly. Oh. In his opinion, there was nothing strange about Shura's behavior. When faced with real-life threats, Shura always writes a suicide note first and then goes to the battlefield. Coming down from the 99th floor, Yabai felt light and empty in his heart. After all, he left all his belongings, things that had nothing to do with saving his life, in the storage props. According to his arrangement, part of the money will be used to compensate Damenzi. Anyway, Damenzi's survival rate is 100%. Soon, Yabai adjusted his mentality. Even for this money, he must come back alive. Current survival rate, 95%. It works. It actually works. Yabai only regretted that he didn't have enough money left. After the survival rate reached 95%, Yabai felt much better mentally. The people who waved before have begun to gather together one after another. And many thugs in Yabai's exclusive space also tried to save their lives. In the Void Vortex, the exclusive space cannot be opened. To join this operation, you must participate from the beginning. Yabai took a look at the registration list. Dracula, Lucifer, Gabriel, Cain. Hey, the 4 big thugs are all going. Yabai never expected that Dracula, whose survival rate was so low, would be willing to go. When he saw Dracula, he was even more surprised. Therefore, it can be regarded as Yabai dragging down Lucifer. The bells sounded melodiously, echoing above the forest. If Yabai dies, she will die. A new prompt popped up in front of him. Lucifer's survival rate is actually linked to Yabai. Just as he was leading the team to set off, a bell rang above the Eternal Tower. The 2 people in the team with a 100% survival rate are both vampires. Okay, let's go without wasting time. These guys actually improved their survival rate by a lot. Looking at Dracula, who was pale and swaying as he walked, Yabai doubted that a gust of wind could knock him down. Cain's survival rate, 100%. Once Yabai decides to do something, his ability to execute it is instantly enhanced. Moreover, the methods used by the 2 are obviously different. Yabai was shocked again. Dracula waved his hand tremblingly but said nothing. As expected of a bloodsucker, he is really good at sucking blood. Current probability of survival, 195%. Lucifer's survival rate is 95%. Gabriel's survival rate is 98%. As for the other 3, Shura can't learn his methods. Yabai and others, who were about to set off, stopped and looked back at the Eternal Tower. As for Cain, Gabriel is so tall, Yabai understands that this brother doesn't say many ruthless words, but he can really fight. Did your kid take the wrong medicine? The guys from the vampire clan are really all old coins. Brother, how about you teach me? Dong. A faint yellow light fell on Yabai's shoulders. Yabai couldn't help but sigh. 100%. Yabai asked sincerely. Dracula's head survival rate. What's even more frightening is that you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 693. 195%. Yabai just wanted to say one thing. I will lead the charge. There is nothing to fear anymore. In fact, the pale yellow light that fell on Yabai was the effect of the equipment called Morning Bell. The specific effect is unknown. The only thing I know is that it has a very strong life-saving effect. Back then, Xiaoao entered the Eternal Forest and took away a set of bells and drums. That is the legendary Morning Bell and Evening Drum. Yabai heard Master Zhu talk about this matter. Obviously, Zhu Yu, the inventor of history, is a rare person who did not invent history. Morning bells and evening drums are not used often. Xiaoao used it once when he was on the 7th floor and everyone in the demon sect planned to ambush Shura. A single tap of the dusk drum can instantly kill the 9th level war god. Considering that the person who took action was Xiaoao, it seemed reasonable. When Lao Lan embarked on his journey into the abyss, Xiaoao also rang the morning bell to see Lao Lao off. Ye Bai knew these things. While he was happy, he felt scared. Xiaoao never does anything unnecessary. Today's Xiaoao is a critical period of thinking, and every ounce of strength is important. But he rang the morning bell for Ye Bai and gave him a ride. Doesn't that mean, Ye Bai's life is really in danger? Hiss. Ye Bai took a breath of cold air. The most powerful seed is really a high-risk profession. With a 95% survival rate, Ye Bai wanted to take a gamble. After seeing the answer, Xiaoao directly said, "I won't win the bet." It's that direct. If there was no morning bell, even Ye Bai, who had the supreme mark and qi in his body, might still perish. When Ye Bai talked to Xiaoao on the 99th floor, Xiaoao knew the answer. But he didn't say it. Because, it's not necessary. Knowing that Shura is at risk of falling, Xiaoao always does something. As long as Xiaoao does something, there is no risk of Shura falling. Then there is no need to say it. Actually, it's not Ye Bai's fault. When the eldest brother and the second brother came to the void vortex, they were already very strong, and they were both in a state of being infinitely close to being the strongest. Ye Bai was fighting monsters at a higher level, and the difficulty was doubled. The strongest men from the previous 2 generations dug holes. It's no surprise. With his 4 younger brothers, Ye Bai followed the previously planned route and headed towards the target point. Soon, they came to a teleportation array. After revealing his identity, the god of war, who was responsible for guarding the teleportation array, activated the array and released the 5 people. Although I don't know the identities of the 5 people. But, looking at their posture, especially the masked black-robed mage at the head, he doesn't even have the aura of a god of war. It's not hard to guess their origins. Shura. Although the god of war was excited, he did not take any further action. He must exercise restraint. After several teleportations, Ye Bai and others arrived at an asteroid. With their strength, operating in a vacuum environment is not a problem. The 5 people arrived not long ago. Xuemeng, Huo Tianyi, and Prince Huang also arrived. Prince Huang subconsciously walked towards the masked black-robed mage, wanting to say hello to Shura. Huo Tianyi and Xuemeng took the initiative to walk towards Gabriel and looked at each other's shadow. After a while, Shadow asked, "Is it so obvious?" They both nodded at the same time. After using the same move too many times, everyone becomes immune. Ye Bai needs to think about updating his routine. After being seen through, Ye Bai had no choice but to walk out of the shadow. Among the original 5-person team, there was one being who was Kane's puppet. Ye Bai looked around and asked curiously, "Is this the void passage?" To be precise, it is the entrance to the void passage. Xuemeng led the way, and a group of 8 people walked around the asteroid. The journey was smooth. The identity of the most powerful adopted son is very useful within the human race. The most powerful people in the human race are all like dragons. Xuemeng is actually equivalent to the walking representative of the strongest. Who makes people have more fathers? Void monsters will rush out of the void passage from time to time. Although most of them will be swallowed by the passage, there are still monsters that can rush out. They need to be killed regularly. Otherwise, if they rush to the blue star, the consequences will be disastrous. Xuemeng explained. Now there are 2 legions stationed nearby, and 3 reserve legions can be put on the battlefield at any time. After the first 30 years of bloody war, the human race's combat strategy has always been to fight steadily and be prepared for any danger. According to common sense, only 1 legion of troops is needed to guard the void passage, but the human race just smashed 5 of them. Certainly. It's also related to the special situation here, which is not restricted by the Xeon Agreement. Blue Star, Abyss, Void Channel. There are too many places where the human race fights. If any aspect is broken through, it will be unbearable pain. Yabai frowned slightly. Why so many? Even if the human race is wealthy, 5 legions are still a bit too luxurious. Xuemeng explained. The Void Channel has been quite agitated recently and needs more manpower. What about before? Yabai was very puzzled. He was not restless before, but now he is restless. What happened? Xuemeng, who was carrying the golden tree, walked in front, smiling and saying nothing, and did not answer Yebai's question. Yes, he is still carrying the tree. This tree weighed as much as Yebai gave it to Xuemeng, and it still weighs as much now. If it's unlucky, it's a little bit unlucky, but if it's valuable, it's really valuable. Yebai was reluctant to part with the tree and thought it was unlucky, so he could only ask Xuemeng to carry it for him. Yebai quickly changed his attention and asked curiously. Have you been particularly unlucky recently? Xuemeng shook his head in confusion. No. He eats deliciously and is in great shape. Carrying a bad luck tree, luck can still be so good. Xuemeng can survive until now, thanks to Wuhan's sword. The only unlucky thing was that Shura captured him as a young man, and he had to follow Shura to the void vortex. But Xuemeng didn't dare to talk about this matter in front of Shura. Strange, isn't this tree unlucky? Yabai began to think about whether he should continue to believe in science. Unfavorable index, 10 stars. That's okay. One more glance and Yabai felt unlucky. Everyone continued to move forward. The closer they got to the passage, the fewer people were on guard. Moreover, everyone seems to be deliberately avoiding some areas. Yabai and others followed the local customs and avoided them together. I just don't know what the point is. Arrive. Xuemeng stopped and stood in front of a crack. He stood in a strange position, as far north as possible. Yabai naturally followed suit, just like Xuemeng. When it comes to saving lives, Shura is full of energy. Others were also like Shura, and the scene was very funny for a time. Didn't you ask me before why I didn't set up defenses before? Xuemeng is ready to announce the answer. Yabai had an ominous premonition. Could it be related to that person? Right. Xuemeng obviously saw what Shura had guessed and nodded, confirming Shura's guess. Xuemeng pointed diagonally to the farthest place and said word by word. Sun Li's freezing cabin was originally placed here. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 694. Things suddenly turned ugly. What I'm most afraid of is that the air will suddenly become bad. Xuemeng, who was carrying the golden tree, didn't care at all. He has avoidance from disaster on him. A mere Sun Li is nothing to be afraid of. Others are not so tough. Looking at the demoralized people, Yabai silently took out the little golden pig from the exclusive space. Magic must be defeated with magic. First, the little golden pig posted stickers with himself, and then passed them on in turn. After the 4 heavenly kings finished posting, Prince Huang wanted to reach out to pick it up, but the little golden pig took the initiative to jump on Xuemeng. What little brat wants to get some good luck? Huo Tianyi smiled disdainfully and said. Shura's wool is so easy to get. Even though 4 thugs can take advantage of the little golden pig. Only they themselves know how much they have paid behind the scenes. If this operation hadn't been so special, Yabai would have made a fortune just for the bonding session with Lilith. Certainly. It's too late to settle accounts afterwards. The 4 thugs have a clear idea. Their first mission on this trip is to protect Shura and survive, their secondary mission is to survive themselves, and their final mission is to make as much money as possible. When you leave the maelstrom. If it were anyone else, they would probably be rewarded based on their merits, with clear rewards and punishments. When you come to Shura, it's a traditional art, where you pay for your life. Prince Huang snorted coldly and said tit for tat. I'm a foreigner, so it's normal not to be treated like this. On the contrary, your kid is also named Huo, so why are we treated so badly? This is where the estrangement begins. Pity. Prince Huang picked the wrong person. He should never, should have messed with this bad breath monster. You have entered Shura in your mind, right? Huo Tianyi greeted elegantly. Guess, during the 30 years of bloody war between humans, who teamed up with Sun Li and took the most actions. Although this is not a glorious thing. But when Huo Tian said it, everyone looked at him sideways. Brave. So brave. Prince Huang. One is unlucky enough to die. One is not afraid of death at all. Crazy Huo is called a madman. Part of the reason is that once he goes mad, not even Sun Li is afraid. Certainly. Under normal circumstances, madman Huo would still express the most basic respect to Sun Li. He is so brave only when he is crazy about killing. We've finished posting them, and the pigs trotters in Tianxia Pavilion are almost burnt. Lilith never forgets to mess up her work. Brother-in-law, please come back soon. I'm counting on you to help me find my sister. Lilith completed her mission as a mascot, happily returned to Tianxia Pavilion, and continued to show off. Lilith accepted Dracula's claim to be her brother-in-law. After all, Dracula's food is really delicious. Moreover, even if Dracula doesn't seem like a good guy, but in the vampire clan, there really aren't many people who can compete with Cain. Without the support of Nightmare and Shura, Cain will really kill Lilith. After Lilith left, everyone is almost ready and is about to enter the void vortex. At this time, Xuemeng lowered his voice and whispered, Shura, when we get to the whirlpool later, let me slash you with my sword. Shura? What the hell is this? Sword. When Ye Bai mentioned the sword, he thought of losing money. Pain. He said angrily. I'm warning you, don't try to threaten me with bankruptcies. I'm not afraid. Shura's words were somewhat lacking in confidence. How much psychological shadow the financial loss left on him is an unsolved mystery of the human race. After getting over the bad luck, without further ado, everyone set off immediately. The void passage is not very stable. After everyone enters, ensure your own safety first, and then find a way to get together. Listen to Xuemeng's command. Everyone is divided into groups of 2 and automatically assigned. Ye Bai and Xuemeng. Cain and Dracula. Gabriel and Lucifer. Prince Huang and Huo Tianyi. This combination is very particular. Needless to say, Ye Bai must be on the same team as Xuemeng, who is the strongest and has the strongest background. Otherwise, why would he sway people? Neither Cain nor Dracula will die, let them wander off on their own. Lucifer's survival rate was actually dragged down by Ye Bai. Now Ye Bai's survival rate has reached 195%, and Lucifer's survival rate has also reached full. Team up with Gabriel to collect more things related to the Angel clan. As for Prince Huang, there was really no one to match him with, so he was forced to leave it to Huo Tianyi. Anyway, Sun and Li are not afraid of Huo Tian's life, so why are they afraid of a mere brat? In this way, 4 groups of 8 people entered the void passage one after another and headed towards the void whirlpool. While walking through the passage, Xuemeng suddenly remembered, looked back at Shura, and said, by the way, my second father asked me to tell you something. Ye Bai was anxious. Why didn't you say anything just now? Such a great guy, how could he learn so badly? You leave the card here. Xuemeng is also very innocent. Didn't I forget? He couldn't tell the truth, My second father specifically ordered me to tell you this before entering. Xuemeng would have to suffer a lot if he told the truth. But 10 pairs of scarlet eyes stared at the two of them. After a while, the world was spinning. What is the difference between this and certain death? Pulled by a huge force, the two of them were involved in the passage. At first glance, Ye Bai felt a little safe. The two landed on the ground and officially arrived at the void vortex. Wuhan or Shura, who is more terrifying? As soon as he came in, he taught Shura a lesson. The strongest ones are the top of the extraterrestrial demons, level 1000, no less than 3. To be precise, it falls within the encirclement. And the circle they formed was airtight, like a tightly tied pocket. When he saw the situation around him clearly, he felt paralyzed instantly. Even if Ye Bai made complete preparations to escape from such an encirclement, it would be a fool's errand. Ye Bai, who now has a 195% survival rate, is not worried about his life at all. The most powerful seed of the human race, 70 years, has finally come again. For this multiple choice question, Xuemeng didn't need to hesitate and chose his second father without any thought. My second father said at UN% at. No wonder Ye Bai did everything to the extreme and still only had a 95% survival rate. In the pocket were Shura and Xuemeng. Behind every pair of eyes is a powerful man with the level of God of War. My second father said that the most dangerous time is when you first enter the maelstrom. Ye Bai rolled his eyes. It's been so hard waiting for you. Xuemeng didn't realize the seriousness of the matter yet and said cheerfully. Let me kill you once, just once. The weakest one is also level 999. When it comes to tricking Shura, Wuhan has always struck hard. That's what you said. Ye Bai didn't hear any of the words behind it. I have to shed my skin even if I don't die. It is indeed a great whirlpool in the void. The laughter of GGG sounded all around, with 3D surround sound. However, it must not be a big deal. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 695. This time, the air was really quiet. Bad luck is really bad luck. As soon as he entered the void vortex, he was surrounded by so many powerful enemies. Positive. This was definitely not among Ye Bai's options. The reason is simple, Ye Bai never likes confrontation. If you can steal the opponent to death with one set, then do it with one set. If you can't steal to death, wait until you can steal to death before fighting. And if they really fight, Ye Bai and Xuemeng have no chance of winning. There are 3 level 1000 enemies alone. Xuemeng's strength is indeed strong, and he is invincible against opponents below level 999. But at level 1000, you can trade with Xuemeng. Moreover, if Xuemeng gets high, he can break free from the chains and fly up. Then Ye Bai was dumbfounded. As for Shura, in a battle of this level, Shura really doesn't need to be included. Now Ye Bai can kill level 999 in a single fight. Gang fight? Can't afford it? You have the ability to challenge a dozen of us in a duel. So, don't risk your life. How can you make money even if you risk your life? Ye Bai looked around and found something interesting. The many enemies surrounding him came from all races. There are dragons, werewolves, elves, and even deserts. Ye Bai found no trace of the Blood Clan, nor the Angel Clan. According to the information Ye Bai obtained before, the Maelstrom is at the ruins of a previous world. Everyone here has withstood the disaster of annihilation. After all, this is where the Eternal Tower flies out, so this conjecture is reasonable. Congratulations, you got it. Eyes are always useful in useless places. After the Fourth Awakening, Danyan added an immune mode. The effect of the immunity mode is very simple. During combat, designate the enemy to be immune to a skill. During this period, you can use this skill with no consumption until the combat state ends. Yabai prefers to call it the order-free model. Steal. You can steal them all. There is no conflict between the stolen skills in immunity mode and the replica mode. And skills designated by immunity mode are free to use. Perfect for Yabai. It wasn't until the fourth awakening that Tan Yan finally became somewhat useful. Under the gaze of the group of enemies, the two sides unexpectedly entered into a strange stalemate. A grey wolf walked out with a terrifying scar on his face and a hoarse voice. Are you the new generation wolf ancestor? Obviously, he was also the ancestor of the wolf and recognized the aura on Xuemeng's body. Yes. Xuemeng admitted generously and asked tentatively. The wolf ancestor won't fight the wolf ancestor. Of course it would be better to have one less enemy. Jajaja. This injury will leave no trace. The grey wolf laughed, his eyes glowing green. He raised his right paw, pointed at Scar and said. Who are you, Wuhan? Obviously, the indiscriminate killings that Wuhan committed back then were really indiscriminate killings. The strength of this grey wolf was extremely close to level 1000. The scars on his skull almost killed him. Xuemeng, the most powerful adopted son, is as proud as ever. Second father. Two dads. Grey Wolf was stunned for a moment, embarrassed on the spot, and then asked after a long while. They adopted you. There seems to be something wrong with this. Nothing seems to be wrong. What a mess. Yabai couldn't help but interrupt the wolf's thoughts. This plot development is too outrageous and is forbidden to be associated with. Yabai explained to Xuemeng. Wuhan is one of his many adoptive fathers. Many adoptive fathers. The more you say it, the more outrageous it becomes. These many powerful people who have lived for 2 eras have really opened their eyes today. A giant dragon spit out a mouthful of dragon flame and asked curiously. Boy, you have the breath of a giant dragon. What does the new generation of the most powerful seeds of the dragon tribe have to do with you? No relationship. Yabai said sincerely. I have a good relationship with the golden snake. It is also the most powerful seed. Is this what you are talking about? Snake. The giant dragon GGG laughed. How can my sacred and noble dragon clan be related to snakes? He just thought he was wrong. The prince of my clan is here. A strong man from the desolate tribe spoke and looked straight at Yabai. Hand over the prince of my clan, and I will not participate in this siege. Obviously, the desolate tribe is a race that is united, friendly, and helpful to each other. Judging from the tone of the other party, he was probably planning to kill Prince Huang. Yabai confessed. Sorry, I don't know either. Then I can only kill you. The strong man from the desolate clan also laughed arrogantly. Enough. The laughter of these arrogant and laughing guys is so outrageous. Do you need to laugh so villainously? Who the hell did you learn this from? Didn't you know that this kind of laughter will shorten your life? Many strong men took a step forward, and the encirclement circle further narrowed. They were just stalling for time by chatting. 70 years have passed since Wuhan left the void vortex. These strong men have been lying in wait here for 70 years. It's just that, Shura's method of creating miracles every time is very strange. Is it possible that you are a horse? Nobody. Even if Shura kills indiscriminately today, they won't have any surprises. If the two of them could escape unscathed, in a sense, it would be considered a miracle. Even their enemies were holding their breath and concentrating at this moment, not daring to be careless at all. What a trivial enemy. The first moment after Shura appeared, all existences secretly worked hard to fix all the loopholes. Shura may be able to quack, but he will not kill indiscriminately. Yabai looked at Xuemeng and asked seriously. They have seen how powerful the human race's strongest seeds are more than once. This stereotype was substituted by them on Shura. Look at my Shura's clever plan to bring peace to the world. The corners of Ye Bai's mouth raised slightly, extremely confident. What a stupid guy. Shura has always been good at creating miracles. Shura is ready to escape. Xuemeng's eyes lit up. Ye Bai is confident and not afraid of danger. Are you going to fight back? Occupying an absolute advantage in strength and numbers, with the right time, place, and people, they actually chose to defend instead of taking a risk. Nightmare, Wuhan, used his own strength to label the strongest seed of the human race as invincible. Xuemeng, who knew Shura best at the scene, knew one thing very well. Xuemeng really wanted to see it. For them, this long-term ambush will also lead to relaxation. If Shura had any secret trump card, he could kill out among so many strong men. Now, there are only two people, him and Shura. No one can guess my Shura's escape route. It is precisely because of this that so many powerful beings put down their dignity and gathered here to ambush Shura. In full view of the public. In other words, Shura gave up his only chance to survive just to chat. Something that can be called a trump card by the most powerful seeds must be terrifying. Certainly. Don't worry, even in this situation, I have made a record. Therefore, you are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 696. Is it possible that you are a horse? Xuemeng never thought that such a day would come. Shaking with coldness. How could such cold words come out of human mouths? What I have said will never be recovered again. Xuemeng's expression changed subtly. He recalled the scene when he first met Xiaoyao. The fear of being dominated by freedom. Then, everyone present had their eyes widened and stared straight ahead with shock on their faces. In their entire lives, they have never seen such a perverted thing. Can't understand. What method is this? To describe it in the simplest language. Xuemeng staged a scene big transformation into a living horse. Ye Bai, who was well prepared, got directly into the horse's shadow and directed Xuemeng to escape. Rush. This matter. It starts with Xuemeng's complaints to Ye Bai in the wolf's nest a long time ago. After Ye Bai discovered that Dracula could turn into a pig, he talked to Xuemeng and asked about Xiaoyao's deeds. At that time, Ye Bai was still very immature and had not yet started online chatting with his third brother, so they were not familiar with each other. Xuemeng and Ye Bai complained that when they saw Xiaoyao for the first time, they turned into a wild horse and galloped all night in the abyss. Ye Bai silently remembered this matter in his heart. After all, he has a very good memory, so he should pay special attention to something like this that can be used to save his life. Later, during class, the teacher also mentioned that there once was a horse in the abyss that was faster than the devil. Isn't the answer ready to come out? If this horse is not Xuemeng, who is it? With this information, enough for Ye Bai to create a perfect escape plan. Originally, Ye Bai planned to use this killing move in that fatal situation. But isn't this a certain death situation today? Show your ambition today. Do you understand the oppressive feeling of the strongest being free and easy? Ye Bai's escape plan was brilliant and successful. Who would have thought that a powerful adopted son could turn into a BMW behind his back? After turning into a horse, Xuemeng's speed increased more than 10 times. Brush it. Very quickly, he escaped from the encirclement. There is no time left for the enemy to react. Xuemeng was even proud of himself. Anyone who has 4 legs can run fast. Be a carefree wild horse, no longer have any worries. It's just, this perfect escape plan has a small problem. Xuemeng ran away. His shadow remained. Ye Bai in the shadow. All the strong men. What's going on? Obviously. Yabai didn't listen carefully in class and just read novels. This is very bad behavior and deserves serious criticism. If Yabai listens carefully, he will never make the mistake he did today. I regret it at first. The teacher made it very clear at the beginning. There once was a very fast horse in the ninth abyss. How fast? Its shadow can't even keep up. Therefore, it is also called the shadowless horse. Therefore, after turning into a horse, Xuemeng can run really fast. It's so fast that even the shadow can't keep up. And Yabai, hided in the shadow. Yabai, who was left in place, fell into confusion, with countless question marks appearing above his head. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Not to mention him, even the many enemies surrounding him were stunned for a moment. The leader, a level 1000 expert, took a breath of cold air and said in shock. I understand. Everyone pricked up their ears, wanting to hear what he had in mind. The most powerful seed of the human race deliberately spreads the burden away so that he can use his fists and kicks to die with us. His. That makes sense. Everyone just felt their scalps numb, so terrifying. It sounds like something the most powerful human race seed can do. Everyone present, there is no one who has experienced hundreds of battles and is experienced. Faced with the crazy plan of the Xeon seeds, they quickly adjusted and made corresponding deployments. Don't panic, everyone. Let's retreat slowly and don't give him the chance to jump over the wall. Yes. Don't panic, there are many of us. He is not Wuhan, let alone a nightmare, don't be afraid. The more scared you are, the more you will emphasize that you should not be afraid. Yabai finally saw it. The eldest brother and the second brother left a deep psychological shadow on these guys. In other words, they are very afraid of the strongest seeds of the human race. It was precisely for this reason that they gathered together to ambush Yabai. The most powerful seed of the human race must die. The encirclement is a little looser. It was this little bit of laxity that gave Xuemeng a chance. Brush. He ran back again. The BMW returned to its original place, stood on both feet, carried its own shadow, and strode away from the scene. All the strong men? Why are you still running? Xuemeng, who turned into a horse, was faster than all of them and couldn't catch up. They could only watch helplessly as Xuemeng ran away carrying his shadow. Wait. Why is this guy back again? Is it over? Relying on his fast speed, Xuemeng carried Shura away and back. Without giving everyone any time to react, Xuemeng picked up the golden tree on the ground and fled the scene again. After being stunned for a few seconds. Many powerful people are in trouble. Chase, chase, chase. Kill them and avenge the shame. That tree, there must be something weird about that tree, there may be an origin in it. A tree that allows the most powerful adopted son and the most powerful seeds to come back and risk their lives to pick them up, can it be ordinary? Although, in the eyes of many strong men, it was just an ordinary golden tree. But, the actions of Xuemeng and Shura proved that this tree was no ordinary tree. In other words, there is another mystery to this tree, but the people present are too low level and have blind eyes to see it. As a result, everyone's enthusiasm for chasing Shura increased again. Somewhere in the great whirlpool of the void, a golden light flashed and a BMW landed. After running at full speed for 10 minutes, Xuemeng finally couldn't hold on any longer. Even cattle and horses have a limit. He threw the shadow and the golden tree on the ground, turned back into his human form, gasped for air, and breathed in the fresh air. Yabai, who had narrowly escaped death, let out a sigh of relief. It's a near miss. With a 195% survival rate, he was not worried at all that he would die. But being able to come back alive does not mean that Yabai will not suffer accidents. If it falls into the hands of those guys, Yabai will definitely not be able to eat the good fruit. As soon as he had some free time, Ye Bai immediately came back to life and said shamelessly. Today, you and I killed 3 in and 3 out of the enemy's formation. Xuemeng? 3 in and 3 out is what Xuemeng did. Kill. I was running away the whole time and didn't even take action, okay. Besides, what does it have to do with you? You are just a pendant, Shura. Ye Bai thought for a while and said seriously. From now on, let's call that place Changbanpo. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 697. Changbanpo. Xuemeng was a little curious, does Blue Star have such a place? Soon, he came to his senses and became furious, shouting. It's too much. How could such a despicable method be used? Xuemeng would rather fight than escape like this. Okay, let bygones be bygones. After escaping from the encirclement, Ye Bai felt much calmer. It's good that I didn't settle the score with you. Wilhen asked Xuemeng to take the lead, and Xuemeng stayed until the end. Obviously. This is not what Xuemeng meant. It should be a traceless arrangement. Ye Bai didn't need to argue with a junior. Xuemeng cheated him once, and he cheated Xuemeng once, so it was even. Seeing that Xuemeng risked his life to get the golden tree back, Ye Bai could barely accept it. Otherwise, with Ye Bai's character, he would have to find Xuemeng to help him. Xuemeng also wanted to understand this and suddenly became happy. Not a loss. Before Xuemeng could speak, Ye Bai asked back. About how often can you transform? Xuemeng? This is too much. Are you still going to use it as a regular skill? He even transformed, bah. Xuemeng used his clever brain and reported a number. More than 30 years. This number sounds unreliable at first glance. Ye Bai knew in his heart that Xuemeng would not turn into a fierce horse unless absolutely necessary. After all, as we all know, Menma doesn't go to work. But when it came to a desperate situation, Xuemeng would take the initiative to give it a try even if Ye Bai didn't mention it. He hadn't tried it before, he simply forgot that there was such a thing. Serious people, who would get stuck in this bug. That is, a guy like Shura could do such a thing. We must go back alive. I put 15.67 million God of War merits on my third brother. Shura's words almost gave Xuemeng a heart attack. How much? 15.67 million? Xuemeng seemed to see his hard-earned money waving to him. I'm curious to ask, just out of curiosity. Xuemeng rubbed his hands and asked embarrassedly. If you never go back, what will happen to the money? Ye Bai glanced at Xuemeng, sneered twice, and did not answer. According to Ye Bai's plan, about 80% of this money will be left to Xuemeng. It's not that Ye Bai loves this junior Xuemeng much. Mainly, on the one hand, there is no need to pay inheritance tax to Xuemeng. The adopted son of the strongest human race has some privileges, which makes sense. On the other hand, after Xuemeng gets it, he will also distribute it to the eldest brother, second brother, third brother, Shadow. Ye Bai was left to allocate his time one by one and get it done in one step. The only one left in Xuemeng's hands is 1 in 1,000. It is precisely because of this money that Ye Bai's survival rate increased by 0.01%. Judging from Shura's reaction, he would probably save some for himself. Xuemeng estimated that at least 2% was his own. Xuemeng turned to ask. What are you going to do next? It was Shura's idea to come to the void vortex. But what to do after arriving, Xuemeng was confused and had no idea. Let me see the map first. Saying that, Ye Bai took out a piece of white paper. Xuemeng? You call this a map? After taking out the white paper, Ye Bai began to write and draw on the paper. Just now, when Xuemeng ran for 10 minutes, Ye Bai was not idle, using his insightful eyes to record all the scenery along the way. Dang Anyun finally played some role. SSS level talents make great contributions. Looking at the dense markings and patterns on the white paper, Xuemeng asked curiously. Is your map accurate? Ye Bai is very confident. With my SSS level talent, can I sell you a fake map? Half an hour later, looking at the finished map, Xuemeng fell into deep thought. Ye Bai couldn't help but sigh. In 10 minutes, you ran a distance as long as 3 abyss. You are such a beast. On the map, Ye Bai marked several key points. A. The location of Huo Tianyi and Prince Huang. B. The hiding place of the broken origin in an ancient period. C. Ruins of a certain ethnic group of all ethnic groups. D. Ye Bai came to the void vortex to become stronger. There are actually only so many ways to become stronger. Resources, origin, void fragments, upper realm materials. The most important purpose of Ye Bai's trip is to collect fragments of the origin and provide support to the origin of greed. Things like the law of origin have always been fine, but not too much. Not to mention, the person who suits Ye Bai the most in the world is probably the origin of greed. In addition, he also has 2 small goals. 1. Collect materials from the upper realm to prepare for building Shura Tower. 2. Complete the Nightmare Wind as much as possible. The battle-damaged version of Nightmare Wind is already dispensable and of little help to Ye Bai at this stage. The fighting power of the 3-headed dog from hell is even inferior to that of Dracula. Really, pigs are worse than dogs. Ye Bai had to pay something if he wanted to revive the glory of SSS level equipment. Ye Bai has used all the materials that can be collected in the abyss, and the repair speed cannot be improved. Ye Bai is ready to come to the void vortex to try his luck. It would be great if you could do all 3 of these things. Within 2 months, find a way to rise to the level of a quasi-powerful person. Ye Bai set an implicit goal for himself. It must have at least 1.1 Xuemeng's combat power. Xuemeng? For him, living is also suffering. For the Huo family, rapid breakthroughs can only be achieved in life and death. The 5th demon god took him and found a passage in the void through secret methods, leading directly to the void vortex. The 5th devil thought beautifully. The great whirlpool of the void? Let's go warm up first. It doesn't matter. It depends on your luck. What if you die? The 2 set off immediately, and their figures disappeared into the void. Ye Bai felt confused. Let's have a seat. His voice trembled slightly and he asked cautiously. Fine. As soon as Xiao Xiao landed, he felt endless pressure. That's a poor guy, there's no money to be made. Ye Bai pointed to a very safe resource point where there were only level 992 guards. Xuemeng, who had already recognized his destiny, had no intention of resisting at all. He pointed at the map and asked. Are you polite? Isn't it impossible to say? What evil had he done in his previous life to end up with such a leader in this life? The devil who loves to seek death will not have bad luck. What's more, Huo Tian originally came to the void vortex to improve his strength. The middle-aged man wearing a dragon robe spoke with confidence. Is this a place where he, a small peak war king, can come? Rescue him for what? Go and save little King Huo first. Somewhere, a passage suddenly opened, and 2 figures appeared from it. Leader, are we in the wrong place? I regard you as my 3rd father, and you regard me as the unit for calculating combat power? What if he really died? Even if you come, you can just come by yourself. Why are you taking me with you? In this case, why should Ye Bai save him? Xiao Xiao was about to cry but had no tears. Anyway. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 698. Void Whirlpool. Ye Bai and Xuemeng quickly found their target. Right here. Ye Bai looked ahead, his expression focused. The origin is divided into 3 levels: the peak of the world, the perfection of the law, and others. Actually, the category other can be subdivided into many categories. However, it makes no sense to Yabai. The origin of greed in his hand was originally of the law perfection level. After being snatched away from the greedy golden dragon, its origin was slightly damaged and was not considered complete. However, with Yabai's compatibility, this damage can be repaired after a while. It can even go a step further on the level of perfection and hit the peak. But Yabai can't wait so long. He can choose another method, swallow other fragments of the original law to strengthen the origin of greed. This is also Yabai's top priority when he comes to the Maelstrom. The monster responsible for guarding the origin is an extraterrestrial demon with no sanity at all, making it very difficult to fight. Many of these extraterrestrial demons are generated by relying on their origins. The stronger the law fragments, the stronger the extraterrestrial demon will be. As his first attack on the Void Maelstrom, Yabai specially picked a soft persimmon. After finding the target, Yabai said casually, "Shuemang, come on." "Shuemang? Aren't you here to fight monsters and upgrade? Why did I take action instead?" He originally thought he was here to be a bodyguard. "Unexpectedly, I was here to be a nanny," Yabai said confidently. "I have single-killed level 999 Poseidon. It's only level 992. Is it still worth doing it myself?" Among Yabai's many solo kill records, killing Poseidon alone is the most advantageous. That time there were the fewest people. Before Shuemeng could refute, Yabai continued. "Besides, if I fight against such a bad opponent, I will become a bad guy." Shuemeng didn't know what to say for a moment. Regardless of whether level 992 opponents are good or bad. Don't you know whether you are good at cooking or not? Besides, after we take action, we need to take what we want and run away quickly. This time, Yabai's excuse finally made sense. Shuemeng could barely accept it emotionally. Yabai is not an alarmist. Those old coins who ambushed us must still be hunting us. Facing Shura, Shuemeng had nothing to do. Not being picked up is already the best ending. Under the command of Kinyan, Yabai formulated a complex battle plan. "Knock him to death with a hammer, and I'll grab my stuff and run away." "Shuemeng. It's so complicated. I'll call 321, and we'll start a group." After making all arrangements, Yabai said in a deep voice. 3. Start a group. "Shuemeng. 80. He struck out with a hammer and fell directly from the sky, killing the level 992 guard monster. At the same time, a stream of light flew out and rushed into the cave. Yabai quickly found what he was looking for, a small piece of law fragment. The Shura falls, and the origin of greed strikes hard. Completeness of law's completion rate 98.56%. Use your breath to attract enemies. The enemy has 90 seconds to arrive on the battlefield. As Yabai expected, the noise they caused quickly attracted the enemy's attention. The wind is tight, pull. The two of them started yo-yo mode and prepared to grease their soles. Yabai and Shuemeng, who rushed out from the ruins, felt a hint of danger. How did it come so fast? Something's wrong. Standing in Shuemeng's shadow, Yabai looked around cautiously. Soon, he discovered the source of the danger. Not far away, stood a middle-aged man wearing a dragon robe, accompanied by a trembling peak war king. The person coming is, the fifth demon. After seeing the old familiar devil, Yabai was also stunned. Why is the fifth devil here? After the two sides collided, the fifth demon was in a good mood. "Xiaoxiu, come quickly and let Grandpa kill you. The void vortex is really a blessed place for the fifth demon god. Here, the strongest human beings cannot enter. At least, neither Wuhan nor Nightmare can come in. The only one left, Xiaoao. The fifth devil believes? The one who lives on the eternal tower will not make a special trip just for Shura. He would not do such a boring thing. If Xiaoao really comes, it may be a good thing for the fifth demon god. The three most powerful people in the human race, Xiaoao, the fifth demon, have not yet made a move. Today, kill either Shura or Xuemeng, and then die. Never has there been such a wonderful ending. The fifth devil almost smiled crookedly as he patted Xiao Xiao on the shoulder. Boy, you are about to become the leader of the cult, so don't look so sad. Xiao Xiao. In front of Ye Bai's eyes, a prompt popped up. The fifth devil's current survival rate, 0%. Hiss. It's over, Barbie is Q. Make this guy's dream come true. The fifth demon god cannot die. You have to do something. The fifth demon god, who has been protected by the human race for hundreds of years, cannot die in Ye Bai's hands. Isn't this just damaging your own brand? I came to the void vortex to become stronger, not to cause trouble. Ye Bai didn't want to make a mistake that would lead to eternal hatred and ruin Shura's reputation for a lifetime. He looked back at Xuemeng and said something that Xuemeng would never forget. We have to find a way to win over Lao Wu. A big question mark appeared above Xuemeng's head. You, a human race's most powerful seed, want to help the devil? Why do these words sound so awkward to me? To put it bluntly, even if you really want to pull it off, you don't have the ability. Who was the one who helped the fifth demon god in the past? The most powerful have nightmares, and the most powerful have no trace. Who are these people now? Shura, does he have this ability? Then, Xuemeng witnessed an even more unforgettable scene. Faced with the swarming of many strong men from all races, countless war gods, and the most powerful. In this desperate situation and a certain death situation, the fifth demon rose into the sky and blocked Shura. I saw him brimming with rage and roaring. I am the strongest seed Shura, protector of the human race, the great demon god of the abyss. One man is in charge, no one can open it. At this moment, he was like a real demon. Many of the powerful men who were chasing Shura were frightened by his momentum and did not dare to make any more moves for a while. Even Ye Bai was stunned by this operation. He knew that the fifth demon god wanted to seek death. He never expected that the fifth demon god could do this. The guardians have all been sorted out. It made Shura laugh. Faced with countless hostility and murderous intentions, above the great whirlpool in the void, the roar of the fifth demon god echoed. Those who want to kill Shura should step over my corpse first. Originally I was planning to show off, but when I thought about the college entrance examination tomorrow, I decided to stay up late and continue coding. Who hasn't been young? If you don't display it when it's time to display it, isn't it another form of displaying it? The old thief of philosophy belongs to yes. I wish everyone good luck in the college entrance examination in advance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 699. Ye Bai, Xuemeng. The fifth demon's arrogance dodges Shura's waist. He really wants to die? No, you have to do something to change the situation. On the battlefield, things are changing rapidly. Ye Bai must do something to save the fifth demon god. How to save? This became Ye Bai's biggest headache right now. He can't stand in front of the fifth demon god and shout that he wants to protect the fifth demon god, right? It belongs to repeated nesting of dolls. Put yourself in danger? That's absolutely impossible. Ye Bai would rather watch the fifth demon god die than lose a single hair of his own. Something must be done. Ye Bai's eyes fell on Xuemeng and saw the golden tree. In the blink of an eye, Ye Bai had a bold idea. If you want to save the fifth demon, you can only believe in a miracle. You are the one. Ye Bai grabbed the golden tree and shouted. Slip. Xuemeng is numb. Did Shura take the wrong medicine? Xuemeng was not afraid of death while carrying the tree, because he was protected from disaster. What does Shura have? 2 lives. In fact, Ye Bai is also panicking now. Numbers kept beating in front of his eyes. Current probability of survival, 194%. Current probability of survival, 192%. Grass. Someone is going to die. Ye Bai, who was in a panic, was quickly discovered by his pursuers. Someone noticed the golden tree he was carrying on his shoulders and shouted. Catch Shura and grab the tree. Whoever can grab the tree, I'm willing to exchange half of the source. With such a strong protector, Shura can't be killed. Let's grab the tree first. In the previous battle at Changbanpo, the fierce horse entered and exited 3 times, rescuing Shura for the 2nd time and the golden tree for the 3rd time. In a sense, golden tree equals Shura. If you get the golden tree, you may be able to understand the secret of the most powerful seed of the human race. Moreover, everyone has looked at the golden tree repeatedly, but no clues can be found. This proves even more that this tree is very precious. Otherwise, why would Shura take this tree with him first when escaping for his life? Could it be that Shura still covets this little gold? That's definitely impossible. With this layer of foreshadowing, all the powerful people want to take this golden tree as their own. The 5th demon god noticed their thoughts. Others don't understand Shura, but the 5th demon god still understands him. Previously in the abyss, the 5th demon god tried his best to land a killing blow, but was blocked by Shura. That blow contained the 5th demon god's entire understanding of level 1000. And Shura was also exiled into the void. If the 5th devil remembers correctly, the place where Shura was exiled should be very close to the abyss of the strongest. And this golden tree only appeared after that. Shura may have encountered some danger, or he may have been forced into a desperate situation, and finally realized something, and finally created this golden tree. Anyway, so many strong people say this tree is important. Coupled with Shura's greedy character, a more bold idea came to the mind of the 5th devil. Get it, you? The 5th demon god took action boldly, grabbing forward with a huge black hand, about to snatch Shura away. You want to die, don't you? Xuemeng slammed the hammer down hard, completely shattering the black hand. But he accidentally failed to control his power, and the aftermath hurt Shura. Boom. The affected Ye Bai accidentally made another mistake, and the golden tree came out of his hand. My tree. Shura's voice was full of emotion, not a trace of technique. Even crying. There was no way. Ye Bai's survival rate had jumped to a whopping 145%. If this continues, Ye Bai will die. Can you stop crying? Ha ha ha. The 5th demon burst out laughing and took the golden tree into his hands, not forgetting to stimulate Ye Bai. Xiaoxiu, this tree is destined to be your 5th grandfather. Let's put it here first. When your 5th grandfather dies, I'm already dead. It's none of my business. Obviously, the 5th devil. Shura gritted his teeth angrily, pulled out the Heavenly King's sword, and roared angrily. Give it back to me. Xuemeng thought that he was probably out of his mind. What's the use of robbing such an unlucky tree? Lifting Shura up with one hand, Xuemeng tried to calm Shura's emotions. At worst, I'll pay you 1 tree. Anyway, he knows how to touch gold. It's just a tree, so what's the problem? Ye Bai still wanted to rush forward. You just pay 10 of my trees. 100 trees. Make a deal. Xuemeng? He is still the same boy as before, nothing has changed. No one can stay young forever. but Shura can be Shura forever. After blackmailing the 100 gold tree, the play was almost over. Ye Bai moved forward at full speed and ran away with Xue Meng. After grabbing the golden tree, the fifth demon god still felt that the fire was not enough. Where are we now? The banquet is still far away. To add fuel to the fire, he simply carried the golden tree on his shoulders and swaggered through the market. Money is the lifeblood of Shura. He, the fifth demon god, carries Shura's golden tree, and it's worth it even if he doesn't die. And these strong men obviously also like this golden tree. The more arrogant the fifth demon god is, the more hatred he attracts. Come. Fight. If you can't kill me, there's no point in living. The fifth demon god ignored the attacks of other extraterrestrial demons, grabbed one of them with level 999, and smashed his head on him. Boom. Boom. Headbutt. Continuous headbutts. The fifth demon god forcibly smashed a level 999 strong man to death with his headbutt. In this battle, all you have to do is attack, not defend. Today, he, the fifth demon god, is going to let the void maelstrom know the price of angering the abyss demon god. The devil, with his complete abyss origin, cannot be provoked by a guy hiding in the maelstrom and trying to survive. The human race can bully the demon god, that's because the human race has the most powerful person in the human race, a nearly invincible incarnation. Void whirlpool. What the hell is that? How many human beings do you have? Or do you also have a truly invincible and powerful demon? None, just pretend to be a hammer. Looking at the many powerful men surrounding him, the fifth demon god let out a wild laugh. Happy. Happy. Never before have so many strong men wanted to kill him. I should have come here 100 years ago if I had known the maelstrom was so interesting. The fifth demon just felt happy and roared. I, the great demon god of the abyss, am willing to die to rectify the name of the demon gods in the world. Drinking ice for hundreds of years can hardly cool the demon blood. Ye Bai, who was running away, looked back. He just happened to see the fifth demon carrying the golden tree and fighting against the gods and demons in the sky. His almost invincible and fearless attitude left a deep impression on Ye Bai. Because lines of prompts popped up in front of his eyes. Current survival rate, 1%. Current survival rate, 3%. Ye Bai. Thousands of words were stuck in my chest, and finally they turned into 2 words. Unlucky. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 700. There is a fifth demon god who cuts off the queen. Ye Bai and Xue Meng quickly fled the battlefield and were safe. The fifth demon god has made a great contribution. Xue Meng, who was belatedly aware of it, figured out a little bit of the flavor at this time. Did you give him the tree on purpose? Ye Bai nodded, yes. I was carrying you and you were crying. Did you think of this trick? Xue Meng sighed. Some are thick and some are thin. The plan was successful. Sun Li brought bad luck to the fifth demon god and saved his life. This tree not only saved Sun Li's life, but also saved the fifth demon god's life. Became a bridge of communication between 2 existences. In other words, from now on, the fifth devil's luck will not be very good. May bad luck bless you. However, Ye Bai still couldn't figure out one thing. You said, the fifth demon god, how did he survive? Even if the 2 of them are outside the battle, they can still feel the brutality of this battle. Level 999s are as numerous as dogs, and level 1000s are everywhere. Can the fifth demon god who only attacks but not defends and wants to die, survive? To know. These enemies are not the strongest of the human race, and they will spare a hand for the fifth demon. To a certain extent, the strong men in the void vortex are the ones who want to kill the demon god the most. After killing the demon gods and taking away the source of the abyss, they can find another way and enter the abyss. This is why, after the fifth demon god appeared, he shared all the firepower for Yebai. In fact, it only takes 2 to 3 strong men to easily stop the fifth demon and continue to pursue Shura. The most powerful human seed is too difficult to kill. When Yebai escaped from the first encirclement, the indigenous strongmen in the Void Maelstrom basically acquiesced to the fact that they could not kill Shura this time. But this does not prevent them from killing the fifth demon. Who doesn't want to attend the banquet? A death that can hold a banquet is a good death. Xuemeng didn't know about this issue either. He admitted frankly. Frankly speaking, if it were me and I fought in this way, I would die. If he could fight and retreat, or use a lose-lose style of play, Xuemeng felt that there was hope for survival. The problem is, Lao Wu doesn't want his life. This is the recognition from Xuemeng, which is extremely valuable. Even Xuemeng thought he was destined to die. That's not to mention Yebai. When Yebai first saw the fifth demon god, the 0% survival rate was probably because of this incident. Leaving aside the question of how the fifth demon god survived, Yebai turned to ask. By the way, why is the fifth demon so special? It can't be killed or trapped. This matter? Xuemeng scratched his head, struggled for a moment, and finally whispered. I'm telling you, don't tell Uncle Ju. Obviously. Yingju, the inventor of history, invented another billion points of history. Yebai is used to it. Rest assured. Yebai patted his chest and said. You still can't believe me. I really can't believe it. The words were already on his lips, and Xuemeng had no choice but to continue speaking. My foster father is the nightmare. When he first entered the abyss, he did not appear in the first abyss, but in the fifth abyss. He met the fifth demon. This matter? Yebai has heard of it. He didn't think much about it at the time, he just thought it was transmitted randomly. It was then that the second Master Ying was abducted by the nightmare. First, he joined the Nightmare Legion and served the human race. After Shadow was established, they happily joined Shadow, picked the position of Shadow 2, and lived happily for decades. Now that Xuemeng's old story was brought up again, Yebai immediately understood something. Yebai suddenly mentioned another thing. My third master used to be a demon, right? Look what you said. Xuemeng had obviously read the information about the 99.99 million God of War's meritorious service and said with a smile. If he wants to be, he is now. They have all seen the current miserable situation of the second demon god. The origin backfired and was suppressed directly to the ground, without the ability to fight back. He was even worse than Su Qingfeng. In front of Ying-san, the second demon is like a younger brother. Xuemeng was a little surprised. Why are you mentioning Yingsan? Aren't you talking about the fifth demon? Yebai recalled. My third master, last time I saw the fifth demon, he called him brother. In terms of details, Yebai has always been very good at it. The third master is familiar with Yebai. So honest. Under the simple and honest appearance of Mr. Ying, he has a heart that is more arrogant than an emperor. It is absolutely impossible for him to call him brother without any real ability. According to Yebai's speculation, Third Master Ying's rank must have been quite high at the time. He was either the second in command in the abyss or the third in command. It can't be any lower. When he saw the fifth demon god, he always called him brother. Isn't that the fifth demon? Yebai guessed the answer immediately. Is he really a great devil? This conjecture can only be said to be unexpected but reasonable. The fifth demon is so hidden. SHH. Xuemeng raised his finger and whispered. The great demon god doesn't know about this. Think back to the time when King Huo Tian was carrying the black coffin to hammer the great demon god to death. The fifth demon god jumped out and said that he was the real demon god. Then, the great demon god only thought he was telling a joke. Looking back now, the great demon god may be a joke. He doesn't even know who he is. No one can trap him or seriously hurt him or anything. Even if he is the real great demon god, how can we break this mortal situation? A looming shadow suddenly rose from the ground and swept across all directions. Part of the most powerful demon. But I can't kill him. Ask him what he's doing, he's just a loser. In the past 100 years, the fifth demon god who had been treated by nightmare seemed to be extremely aggressive, but was actually useless. Xuemeng scratched his head again. In fact, just know a little bit. Can't say yet. The fifth demon is very special. He is the real great demon of the abyss. What makes him special is not his origin. The fifth demon god re-entered level 1000, creating the supreme glory of the abyss demon god. Xuemeng said the most helpless part of the whole thing. An abyss without a demon is not worth mentioning. Shura. You are so bad that I will die. Ye Bai hasn't figured this out yet. If he takes action, he will be stopped by the most powerful person. He felt that his guess was almost accurate. He doesn't take action. Xuemeng shook his head, he didn't know either. Ye Bai had a bold guess. The fifth demon god, realizing what had happened, looked up to the sky and roared. On this day. But I don't know much. He does know a little inside information. And can't die. The Riddler gets out of the void vortex. The strongest person can kill him, that's all. Anyway. Regarding the true identity of the fifth demon god. While the two were chatting, a roar once again spread throughout the void vortex. Identity is important. Roar.